All right. Welcome to KitaCast, episode 14.
Ooh, yeah, 14.
Oh, we did it, guys. Or something. Speaking into your ear holes is Nedu. And to my right, we got...
It's Garry!
Boom, 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 boom!
Air horns.
Yeah.
Mandatory air horns.
Yeah, of course. And to my left...
It's Dan. No air horns.
The crowd goes wild!
It would be funny if it was, Gary got air horns and mine was just like that little bike horse.
But yeah, on the docket today...
what do you want to talk about, Nedu?
Well, in honor of a trailer that dropped for a World of... Wait, no, it's just called Warcraft, obviously. It's based on Warcraft. Mm-hmm. The Warcraft movie, I thought we could talk about video game movies. They have a storied history in the pantheon of cinema. They tend to not always work out the way the people expect. Well, people want, I should say, although there are some gems here and there.
Now, Nedu, right? I don't like to throw stats around a lot, but I'm going to say about 98% of video game movies never work.
Yeah, there's some pretty shitty ones.
There are some real stinkers.
As Nedu kind of said, unfortunately, a lot of them just never work because Hollywood and video games don't understand each other, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're getting closer.
They're getting closer now that, there's bigger money in it. They have, more talent working on them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, especially back in like the 80s and 90s and stuff, it was almost impossible to make a good video game movie. Yeah. And also impossible to make a video game tie-in for a movie.
Yeah.
It was like, it very, very rarely worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's the thing about the two mediums is that it's interesting because a lot of times video games, I think Kojima's a good example, right? Like, video games sometimes strive to be more like movies. Mm-hmm. When it goes... Sometimes that works interestingly, sometimes it doesn't, and because of the way that player input happens, it's like, there's this absolute disconnect towards what a movie is supposed to be, what a video game is supposed to be, and when you put them together, sometimes it doesn't quite work. And then going back from movies to video games, again, there's that, player input is not there at all.
You know what, I think... I'm just going to throw this out here. I think we should do a part 2 next week when we talk about video games based on movies.
Whoa! Oh, that's a good idea.
Games based on movie. Oh.
Yeah, good idea.
The other side of that.
Yeah,
right?
I like that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely.
Okay, so yeah, so after this one, then
2-parter.
Yeah, we'll
episode 14 special.
Oh yeah, 14 special.
I'm excited. Let's fucking do this.
This shit's getting real, guys.
Okay, what's first in the docket there?
Well, what do you think of video games, movies based on video games in general, and why do you think they tend to not be successful?
Okay, so basically, kind of like what we were talking about there at first was, video games and movies in general, they have to have a different structure overall. When you make a video game, you're not just making something visual. You're making something interactive at that point. Mm-hmm. And interactivity requires a different kind of story path. It requires different input. A movie, you literally walk into a theater or sit on your couch and you watch it. There's no input other than pressing play. So to make a movie work in the same way that a video game does is challenging. I think it's very, very tricky to do that. So it's not like it's Hollywood's fault straight up that some movies just shouldn't have been made for some of these video games because the content isn't there.
Like if they made a DDR movie, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's a prime example of that because when people, or like when Hollywood started kind of snatching up licenses left, right, and center because comic books became popular, superheroes, video games, they all became popular. So all these Hollywood companies started going on a buying spree of buying up all these licenses, down to the fact that they were buying up licenses for stuff like Minesweeper and Monopoly and Connect 4 and these old school board games and really crappy, time-wasting video games and stuff like that.
I remember the whole Battleship one.
And Battleship, that's another prime example.
Oh, God.
So, it's, some of them, maybe they could do something interesting with them, but for the most part, some of them just should never be a movie. I mean, don't make a Tetris movie, because, holy shit.
People aren't going to wait for that L block.
Yeah. Peace. Exactly. So yeah, but all that stuff aside and everything, that they're different mediums, and they do need extra kind of time and care put into them to make sure that they represent one another. So if you're making a movie based on a game, you have to remember that a game usually, even in modern times, takes place over 10 to 15 hours.
Yeah.
A movie obviously can't be 10 to 15 hours. Even if you're making it a trilogy, tops 6 hours, 6 maybe 7 hours for that. So you have to be able to tell that story coherently with pretty much all the characters included and make it feel like that game, and you're doing it in less than half the time sometimes. So yeah, it's definitely a medium that needs some extra work put into it to make that movie represent what that game is putting forward.
The funny thing is, even sometimes when you take a game, all the cutscenes put together are longer than a movie.
Yes, and that's
so,
true.
like, how do you make that into one movie?
Yeah,
right?
and then that's the thing, is because those cutscenes, it's like, oh, well, we could just splice all these cutscenes together and make a storyline out of it. It's like, no. A lot of those cutscenes don't end up being coherent because you missed a lot of the action in the middle where the player had the input and they were doing stuff and learning stuff about their character or the world or, collecting random shit.
Well, sometimes, the context of those sequences we're actually playing plays into the cinematics because that's oftentimes the meat of the situation because you're going from one place to the next.
Yeah.
And there's stuff happening and there's context as to why you're going there and then all of a sudden you're in the situation. It makes sense.
Because the cinematics are, in a lot of cases, the bookends of chapters. So it's like, here's the beginning of what's happening. Then the player takes over for that hour or 2 hours or whatever. You get some little snippets here and there, but then you get another big cinematic on kind of the other end of it to say, well, this all happened and all right, we're carrying on to this now, and it kind of explains the next part of it. And again, movies don't work that way. So,
like another problem I find with like these movies is probably that a lot of the directors don't like actually take a lot of time to like play through the whole game.
That is very, very true.
Realize what points are the most important parts of the game. Like they'll just see, they'll like look through the script and be like, okay, this looks important and this looks important, but they won't know like what's important without actually like going through the game themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like if you were to make a Last of Us movie and you missed out the whole draft part because that's gameplay part, and it's just like, okay, well that just cut out a lot of the meaning of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, that's very true because you look at a movie that's done, like, we'll just go into comic book movies just for a quick second here. Prime examples are what's his name that did the Avengers and
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon is a perfect example because he is not like a Spielberg, because Spielberg is very famous for making some really crazy good famous movies, but when you hand him a property that's very, very loved, like say you handed him Super Mario Brothers or something like that, he would try to make this epic Hollywood movie out of this without understanding the content.
Yeah.
And that's where you lose the heart of the movie. Whereas you take someone like Joss Whedon, who is a nerd, and like hardcore nerd through and through. He loves this content. He's read the comics. He knows the characters. He's written comics. Like he's been in it. He's well immersed in it. Yeah. That's why he makes such great superhero movies, because that content is his. Like he loves that genre and he loves that stuff and he's been immersed in it.
And again, that another part of why like it doesn't fit the same every way, because like sometimes people play a game and they don't experience things the same way.
Yes.
So like even if the director or whatever plays through a game, they might not notice parts that like mostly everyone notices, or like they might feel something entirely different about it, so they might tilt the scene in a different direction than most people are expecting.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of them, I mean, you take a lot of those famous directors, they're older guys, they've been around for a while, but the video games, nerd stuff was never really their thing, so they don't understand it. It's like, yeah, like you could take, anyone, again, like Spielberg or something like that, but if you hand him that content, and it's like, oh, well, it's mandatory that you play through this, they were talking about making him do the Halo movie.
Yeah.
Which would be another prime example, because it's like, okay, Spielberg, we know you made some epic movies and stuff like that. Here's this game called Halo. You're Master Chief, and there's all these aliens, and you're on this space station thing. And play this game so you understand what we're talking about. You can play the game 10 times and still not get the content.
Well, yeah, like, if you play through slowly, you might just be like, okay, well, I'm just looking around a bunch. So,
yeah.
Like these beautiful skyboxes. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, like, again, with The Last of Us, like, I actually didn't see the draft scene the first time because my friend kept saying, look, and like I was like looking for something in particular, like I thought there were enemies and shit around me.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking around and shit, and then he's like, you missed it. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, I would have noticed it if I just walked up
if you're on
and
your
did it
own,
myself, right?
Yeah, if you were on your own, you would have seen the camera pan properly, and you would have just...
Yeah.
But,
Or even some people who play like collecting everything. they will like purposely miss out on cutscenes just because they're like walking slowly, looking at everything.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So they miss things. Like people experience games differently, whereas movies are meant to direct your attention in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So it's a bit harder to bring those experiences to life to a movie when people experience them differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I find that there are two types of video games that they tend to turn into movies, and this isn't always the case, but I find that it's either a type of video game that has type of video game that has almost no story, or a type of video game where the story is very important. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to like a lot of times the fighting games are actually some of the more common ones that they use to turn into movies, right? And those ones have very ridiculous storylines that really aren't all that important to the actual mechanics of the game. The more important part is the mechanics of the game, but of course the mechanics don't really show through the movie, of course, right? Like that's one of the problems when a game's most important aspect of it are the mechanics. Mm-hmm. How do you translate that to a movie? And sometimes there are ways to do it. And for example, fighting games, they throw in the character's special moves or every once in a while, right? But but still, you're not actually getting that input. And then when it comes to the fighting games, they often have like just this ridiculous story that it's just like, even if you do know the story of the fighting game, they'll throw in some other story. Oftentimes people are trying to get fighters' data.
Gotta make it your own.
Yeah, make it your own. Yeah, geez. So it doesn't quite work. And then there's the ones where there's a lot of focus on the story. Things like, well, I guess Resident Evil might be an example, which is actually kind of good or bad depending on how you kind of enjoy those movies. But those games have a really intricate and crazy storyline. Like it's like balls crazy. It is ridiculous. What I kind of appreciate about those movies, that at least the first ones for sure, they kind of take a small kind of aspect of Resident Evil and kind of put it into a movie, make a story around it. They kind of made that one almost their own story in those movies. They
really did, because when they started that Resident Evil series, it was almost like they weren't rewriting it, but they were telling like this other portion of it with this character, and then they realized, oh, people actually like this. Yeah. Let's write in the characters that they know now, and kind of interconnect everything. Yeah. I guess kind of the crappy part is, or kind of good part, depending on how you view these movies, is that even though Alice has become this crazy good character in all these movies and everything, and including with like Leon and Jill and all them, she's never crossed over into the games, I think.
No.
Alice has never been a part of the games, but the game characters have always been a part of the movies. Yeah. So.
Well, see, my issue with them kind of bringing in the characters is two things. One, like the main character Alice, she's like a ridiculous badass. Like she barely even needs their help.
She's pretty fucking ridiculous now.
And then the second part too is that like those characters, like especially when they're trying to make their own story, when they bring in other characters from the actual franchise or other aspects of the franchise, it feels almost shoehorned in. Like it's like the other characters. I mean, they look like cosplayers essentially. Like they don't. That may look like I may look like a pretty good cosplay of Leon, but that's not Leon, and that's not really Ada. That's not really Jill.
Well, the good part about that though is that the movies never take them so seriously though.
Well, yeah, those ones in particular. Like I was kind of using it as an example, but you're right. Those ones in particular don't. But oftentimes, again, when it's more story focused, like I guess something like Silent Hill as well, where they kind of take very strong aspects of that series and story, but then when Pyramid shows up, you don't get that same sense of dread, not only because you're not interacting with it, but you're like, this is just a thing that I recognize. Like it doesn't really mean the same thing in context. So I don't know. It's a really tough thing to do. So again, you're right. It's not just Hollywood's fault, but it's a really difficult thing to overcome for sure.
Yeah, it's like when you take these when you take those Resident Evil movies and you actually watch them, I think part of why they were successful is because they didn't try to like shoehorn everything in. They weren't just like, oh, we need everything Resident Evil in there. Like they took parts that they thought would fit, though not all of them fit.
Yeah,
but you gotta know what you feel would fit your movie, and you have to have a purpose to your movie, right? Yeah. So they sort of knew where it was going, so they took parts of it that they feel were like Resident Evil-y, but like I think fit more into their universe as well.
As an aside, Michelle Rodriguez dies in a lot of movies she's in. I think she died 3 times in that franchise.
Oh, no kidding! Yeah, I forgot they kept like bringing her back and shit like that too. So.
But yeah, no, I still like you're right. Like they don't bring in everything. I think I can agree with that.
Because like some movies try and bring in everything. Like the Super Mario movie, it was like, oh, we need everybody.
Okay,
so
now we can just stop on that one. Because
Actually,
holy shit, the fact is that they made that as a one-off.
Yeah,
Resident Evil is now going into their 6th or 7th movie now, so they have that time and ability to spread out that storyline and those characters and kind of sprinkle them in here and there. Whereas Mario was it was 80s. It was just like, the kids love Mario these days. We're gonna make a Mario movie. And
thinking of the first movie, they probably weren't thinking like, oh, let's make a huge movie franchise.
No, and that's the thing is, I think they did it to test the waters because they didn't put any main characters in it. And they, it was, the story was there.
Use the universe, not the
exactly.
exact
and then
same story.
That was the best way to do it, though. They tested the waters with it. It became hugely popular. So they're just like, all right, we got something here. Let's go with this.
Plus, the foreign market actually loves those movies. Those Resident Evil movies tend to do better even overseas.
Well, a lot of them take place in foreign places too, don't they? Like, I know there's one that was in an underwater, like, Russian sea lab or something like that, wasn't it?
One was on, like, a submarine thing.
That was 5.
Aircraft carrier.
Well, 5 was in an underwater base. The 4 took place on, like, at least at the end, they were on a, like, aircraft carrier. 3 was in, like, I think it was in, like, Los Angeles or something, but the whole world was
that was the desert one. It was Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, right, sorry, and that was a desert. But then 2 was Raccoon City, which is Toronto. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Actually, we were actually talking about other movies that we've seen, so I might as well actually kind of go into the next question, which is, what are some video game movies that you've seen, like live action versus animated? Which do you feel are more successful?
Okay, well, we just have like this large list in front of this beautiful list, and I'm just gonna take a quick look down here. Okay, so I think like everything has been said under the sun about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It was just atrocious. I mean, I am a fan of bad movies. I love watching bad movies because I love to see camp. I love to see ridiculous acting. I like to see just stupid storylines, bad effects at all, and everything like that. Super Mario Brothers is so painful to watch. I don't even know how I sat through it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I think even as a kid,
Goombas gave me nightmares.
Oh, they were creepy.
I think even as a kid, I felt disappointed by that movie. And usually as a kid, you barely disappointed by anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
I think I almost disassociated that movie with the Super Mario Bros. Franchise.
Yeah.
Where it was like something entirely different, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, because as a kid, even then, you can recognize like the complete and utter disconnect between what that movie was and again the game. Like there were some actual weird adult situations in that which made no sense to me as a child.
Exactly.
They were like, "Oh, Mario's a plumber. He has to be a plumber."
Well, and it's like
fuck.
Like
no.
I've read stuff about like behind the scenes of them working on the movie and everything like that, and it's like I don't know the style and the tone and like all this kind of stuff they went for was just ridiculous because it's almost like they took Super Mario and they wanted to mix it with a Blade Runner or something like that. Because if you go back and watch that, even in certain scenes, it's a very cyberpunk movie. Like just the world that they're in and kind of how people are acting and. It's just very dark and gritty and punk-like, and it's just, I don't know, it's
Maybe they're trying to make a Ninja Turtle-y?
Maybe, that might have been it. Maybe that was kind of the feel of the time of all those different
Because, like, those Ninja Turtles, like, live-action movies were really popular.
They were that, but...
they were bad.
But, I mean, when you look at it...
The first one still holds up.
No, Ninja Turtles 1 still holds up. The other two are pretty bad.
Yeah.
3 is awful. Don't even fucking watch it. But the first one was good. Like, but that's the thing, is they're Ninja Turtles, they live in the sewers, they live in New York. It fits that profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers, Mushroom Kingdom, bright colors, Goombas, turtles, like just, none of that was in there. They would literally just took names and slapped them on other creepy looking creatures in this weird world that they, Yoshi, that had fungus everywhere.
Yeah,
like
Yoshi
that
was like a tiny raptor.
Yeah, he was a tiny raptor thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And King Koopa was what's his name?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's
I don't even remember.
I don't know, the guy from like the Dawn of the Dead movie, or the
I don't know.
one.
I just remember it's bad. That's it.
Dennis Hopper? I think it was Dennis Hopper.
Let's see.
You can look it up.
Yes, it is Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, okay, thank you. And and he was King Koopa, and it was like, what the fuck's going on?
I think one of the limitations at the time was they didn't have the CG effects to do a lot of that
they
stuff.
They didn't need CG, they just, oh my god, they
what,
could've...
like getting little cardboard cutouts?
Well,
yeah, everything was practical effects in the 80s.
Well, one thing
but
I remember...
it's hard to do practical effects for exploding blocks and shit.
Yeah, there's definitely been, like, I encourage people to look up YouTube videos about the production of that movie, because it's actually really fascinating.
And kind of sad, actually.
It is. There was a lot of issues leading up to it, including like changing writers, directors that had no idea what the fuck the franchise was. Even how the workplace was actually dangerous. How the actor who played Mario was getting more and more drunk every day. Because
it was him and his coworker, like cohort. The guys that played Mario and Luigi, they both got drunk on set all day, every day, basically, because they were so miserable filming this fucking movie. Like, they were probably drunk in a lot of scenes that they were filming.
It's very likely that they were.
All right.
You can't blame them for it.
But anyway, so
Let's
yeah.
skip this horrible movie.
So
and
that's
keep going.
Super Mario Brothers, which was
Yeah.
awful, and maybe just watch it once to say you've watched it and then understand how really, truly bad it is. The next few on the list are
They're
fighting games, which are Double Dragon, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat.
I didn't know Double Dragon existed. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
saw
I have
that
seen
movie.
I've seen all these movies. Double Dragon was horrendous. This
Oh,
was
yeah?
this was another Hollywood film where they literally just said, the kids like Double Dragon.
Yeah.
We bought this license, do something with it. Wrote their own fucking storyline that had nothing to do with the video games, and turned it into a really, really bad like U.S. martial arts film.
Oh. Huh.
About
real
like
bad.
a medallion that gets like broken in two, and when they reconnect, they get like superpowers and shit like that.
Oh,
like,
they're
it's,
the Double
yeah.
Dragons! Oh!
yeah, that's basically it.
Unless
Again,
I'm-
I
I
saw
just
it like
wrote this movie.
I saw it so long ago that
I
it's like
don't-
that's all I honestly remember from it.
Yeah, I don't remember a thing.
I remember Street Fighter
yeah.
and Mortal Kombat
And-
for sure.
Apparently, Alyssa Milano was in the Double Dragon movie.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah,
Huh.
I don't remember that
Huh.
at all.
And then there was Street Fighter, which was
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
oh my god, yeah.
Guile.
Because they took a Japanese fighting game and turned it into a U.S. movie. It was like Hoorah USA,
Yeah.
Guile.
Yeah.
They made Guile the
It's
main
like, damn,
fighter.
Guile's the main character now.
And I think
Yeah.
Ryu was barely in it.
Ryu
Yeah,
was like
pretty
He was
much.
like he was just like a back character
Yeah.
somewhere, and they talked to him like twice.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile.
And then Cammy was like
And-
really big in that too.
Yeah, because
Well,
again,
this
she
was
was
Kylie Minogue.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
gotta have
so-
all the American characters.
So either way, like that one I don't mind, but because it's a bad movie,
Yeah.
like it has
Yeah.
bad effects,
Yeah.
it
It's
has
pretty
bad
schlocky.
acting.
Yeah.
M. Bison is hilarious
Oh,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
movie
You know,
because he's so horrible.
I think one of the reasons I remember that movie a little bit better is because I actually was a fan of Ming-Na Wen, and I still like her. I think she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's acting in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, and she's one of the best characters, and also, you know, she's somewhat into martial arts, so she does some of her own stunts. She was actually Chun-Li in that movie, which is kind of cool that way back then, like, I actually watched that movie, like, last year. It's
Really?
really fucking
I
terrible.
haven't seen it in years.
Yeah, it's
Oh
really,
my
it's
God.
really bad.
I just remember the bad effects.
I'm going to kick M. Bison so hard.
Oh god.
You kick him so hard.
It's so awful.
Oh.
He's got to reprise that role.
Thank you, Jean-Claude Van Damme. 'Cause that was an amazing line from
Yeah.
that movie. But yeah, and then rolling right on to Mortal Kombat, I remember watching this one in the theater when it first came out and being so fucking excited to see it because I loved Mortal Kombat when I was young. And you know what? I liked it in the theater when I was a kid. I thought it was awesome. Last time I saw it, I think it was about 2 years ago. And you know what? You know, it's campy. It's really bad acting.
Yeah.
And kind of a stupid storyline, but it's Mortal Kombat. So you
Yeah,
can't really
at
expect
least
anything
they've had
outside of that.
Mortal Kombat in
It's
it,
kind
too.
of like, yeah, you can go back and watch it and enjoy it as a bad movie because it has some of those lines, just like, oh my god, Shang Tsung, your soul is mine. It's so bad that it's entertaining to watch. And you know what? As far as, you know, Hollywood taking something was popular, at least they got the characters in there. They got them to look like what they were supposed to for the most part. And the fighting was there, even though it was kind of shorter lived than it should have been. But I mean, they got a practical effects Goro in there, which was fucking amazing. Like,
his arms.
that shit was awesome.
Damn arms.
You know, one thing that I find kind of interesting about that franchise in particular, specifically with the newer Mortal Kombat games, is it's almost like they adopted that camp as well into their newer cinematics.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They don't take themselves nearly seriously anymore. Whereas Mortal Kombat back in the day was just like, yeah, people are dying. It's this
fighting
evil
tournament.
This evil
To the
killer
death.
world, and like these demons killing everyone, and there's this fighting tournament where everyone dies, and it's like now it's just like it's almost getting onto that level of like Tekken and DOA for ridiculousness in their like time traveling weird ass storylines, how everything's interconnected with the Nether Realm and all this stuff.
If you guys want a really entertaining bad movie, Annihilation, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oh, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is
like the first one is kind of
because they
not
took
as much, but Annihilation is just like, holy shit, what is this?
Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 1 was based on the Mortal Kombat series.
Yeah.
Like, it had the story, it had the characters, had the fighting, special moves, yada yada. Like, it tried to cover that stuff as much as it could. Annihilation is insanity. Like, they took it and made their own story with it while adding the newer characters from 2 and 3 at that point. And, you know, it's fun to watch, but because
It's a train wreck.
it is literally like Mortal Kombat Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, the fighting is so ridiculous in it, and they start like writing in extra parts of the storyline that never existed. So it was Hollywood being more Hollywood.
It's awesome though. It's
but yeah,
really
it is ridiculous. Have a beer,
fun.
watch that movie. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, Tomb Raider.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the ones where the cracks. Like, at this point, we were a bit older when we were watching these. We were starting to recognize.
We were kind of
14.
sitting back a little, like looking at it for what it was as a whole, rather than saying, "Oh my god, it's Tomb Raider." Let's
it
watch
wasn't
this.
Tomb Raider. It was Angelina Jolie shower scene.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because you know what? I feel, at least with the newer Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider lends itself really well to doing a film.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be very cinematic. It's a great character.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think they didn't modernize it. You know, like, until they modernized it with the newer Tomb Raider games, Hollywood was stuck in that kind of 90s frame where it's just like, well, it's just this hot chick with big tits with guns.
Yeah.
Instead, she goes into these tombs and kills shit. Like,
Well,
and that's exactly what they made the movie into. And it failed horribly.
Exactly. That's another one where, you know, there's a disconnect between the mechanics of the game and the actual movie, right? Because even though she does have guns and she shoots stuff all the time, but the main part of those games was traversing and solving puzzles in the tombs. And there was a bit of that in the movie, but it was so much more downplayed towards the action sequences. I was like, I don't even know why I'm watching this. I could watch some other action movie with better action.
According to the newest Tomb Raider, it's kind of like that now.
That's kind of what I was going to say, though. I know the newer ones are a little bit more, or at least the first reboot was a little bit more action-based. I mean, they do say the second one, even though that cinematic had her murder, death, killing a lot of people, but they say that there's more focus on the tombs in the second one. I mean, we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it.
That's
what they said. I'm saying what they've been saying.
Wait and see.
That's why I said,
because we talked about this like when we were talking about trailers or something else like that, where I had had a bit of a freak out on like they changed kind of like what Tomb Raider was about, and they said, oh, don't worry, there's still tombs, there's all this stuff and everything. It's like, well, show us that then. Let's. And I don't know. There's this whole fucking list. I mean, it's House of the Dead was horrible. Don't even fucking watch it. Alone in the Dark. I mean, these are you.
Final Fantasy, the Spirits Within
movies at this point. God, they're all awful. Uwe Ball, stay the fuck away from them.
Blood Rain.
Except for Rampage, which was not a video game movie based on the giant lizards and monkeys. And stuff like that. It was okay. I'm just gonna throw this out. There's a lot of people who've never heard of this movie or seen it or whatever. I think it's on Netflix. If it isn't, go watch it because it is actually quite interesting. It is kind of I guess it's a not a snuff film, but it's literally just like this kind of chaos and destruction film where this kid basically snaps and goes and murders like a whole town, but it kind of hits home too because it's scary how real it could be. And this was done by Uwe Ball, which is weird because Uwe Ball also did a Postal movie, which is literally what that is. Yeah. But the Postal movie was atrocious. It had nothing to do with that.
So Rampage should be named Postal.
Yes, Rampage should be Postal.
That's funny. That's
and you know what? I hate Uwe Ball. He does not make video game movies good at all. Like, they're all terrible. Like, don't even bother watching them. Rampage is amazing. It is really, really good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because
that's
of
not
how
a video
kind
game
of
movie, though.
it's because it's how deep and scary it is, really.
Yeah.
Because it is, you have that kind of fear because it's like this could happen actually, and it's well done. The characters are well written, and it's very interesting to watch, even if it is does have that kind of light plot on it because there's not overall it's like, well, this kid goes and kills a bunch of people, but as you watch the whole thing, you'll kind of start figuring out like kind of why and how it happens, and it's just really interesting. So that's an Uwe Ball movie that you should watch. That's the only one I can think of.
That's fascinating. Although Uwe Boll, as far as movies go, the one that sticks in my head the most is In the Name of the King, which is Dungeon
Siege
movie,
yeah.
Right.
They made a second one of those, didn't they? Without what's his name?
Did they?
Did they? I didn't even know that movie existed.
Yes, because there was it was called In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale.
Yeah.
And it starred what's his name?
I'm gonna have to look that
from the Transporter, and he's like action star. Like
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. Yeah. So it starred him. I'm almost certain they made a second one without Jason Statham, but the same character, some stand-in for Jason Statham.
Maybe I had no idea.
Or maybe I'm just
for the second.
Maybe I'm just thinking of another thing. But either way, just another horrible movie. But why does it stand out for you? Did you actually enjoy it?
No, well, I mean, it's one of the cases where it's just you're laughing so hard that you're hurting, and you can't help but have fun, even though it's garbage. Like I'm never gonna watch that movie again unless somebody actually unless I get caught in a Jigsaw style death trap where I'm forced to watch it, right?
Yeah.
But I was laughing so hard, and then in particular, I just remember this scene in the forest where this fight was going on, and one guy so clearly had a hard hat on. And I'm just like, what is that guy doing? He was kind of in the background.
You told me about this. Yeah. I remember that.
And he had a hard hat, and we actually went back and paused, and he's like, that guy's wearing a hard hat. And my brother, I was watching with my brother and friends, just like, why? I'm like, obviously that's Jeff the Time Traveler. He came back in time, and he just landed here, and this fight was going on. And he's like, dude, I have no choice but to defend myself. So we started fighting. I was like, I guess. Like, it's just the fucking weirdest shit. And I'm just like, I don't know.
That's amazing.
Like, it just, that one sticks in my mind just because I was laughing so hard.
I have a quick question, because you're talking about laughing so hard and actually enjoying a bad movie like that. Did Uwe Ball do DOA?
No, he didn't actually.
He didn't? Okay, good. Because I actually really liked DOA.
Oh, you did?
I actually love that movie. Because it is that whole ridiculousness where it comes all the way back around and it gets to be good again. Because it's a fighting game, or it's a fighting game movie. So, literally, with a fighting game movie, as long as the story's there and you nail what the characters look like, and you have some, decent fight scenes in it, it actually works. And DOA is such a ridiculous storyline in the first place. They wanted to make a ridiculous hammy movie out of it, and they fucking got it. Like, it is stupid to the point where it's hilarious and fun to watch.
They should make a second one. Zack Island.
Oh, God.
It's just 2 hours of chicks in volleyball and bikinis. Like.
Well, what I liked about that movie, that movie was so weird. I feel like Devon Aki was a miscast as Kasumi, but, I mean, really, it doesn't matter, though.
It didn't matter. It was...
There was another movie where the bad guy was looking for fighter data again.
Yeah,
whatever. But the fights in that movie were actually pretty good. and it was kind of interesting. All the female characters, because that series always focuses on the females for obvious reasons. But that movie, because they're like, we can't put in this much cheese or that'll bump up our rating. Yeah. So they just actually made the female characters kind of cool. There was actually this really adorable part of the movie where I guess Tina was in bed with some other female character. They were just sleeping in the same bed. It wasn't a big deal. But then her dad, what's his name? Bass Armstrong or whatever? Yeah. His dad busts into the room. And then he's all surprised he's in bed with, and he's like, oh, well, that's okay if that's your choice. I'm like, oh, he's so nice. He's such a good dad. That was actually really adorable. But yeah, that movie was just it was so ridiculous, but it was actually a lot of fun.
You check that out.
It's not
terrible.
Yes,
so definitely watch that one. One you shouldn't watch is Hitman. I haven't seen the newest one, Agent 47, I guess it is. Yeah. Agent 47 Hitman or whatever. But I've heard it's pretty bad. The first Hitman, I don't remember who the main actor was in it. It was the guy from Deadwood.
Frack.
Timothy Oliphant. That's it. Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, not Deadwood. Justified.
Oh, sorry, Justified. Yeah. It was one of those fucking things like that. Anyways, so Timothy Oliphant actually pretty good as Agent 47.
He's got a good
he did a good job. Yeah, he has that kind of stone cold face, and he did a good job. He kind of kept very not monotone, but he kept it kind of cool and everything like Agent 47 would. The problem I had with it was they tried to turn it into this almost action Bond movie kind of, and I know that he's kind of a spy and everything like that, but he has his own way of doing things.
Yeah, he should be more just stealth with
It should be stealth killing, choking guys out, silencers and everything like that. And a lot of the scenes in that really miss the note of, especially in the new one. That's what I heard, is that the new one is just a balls to the wall action movie, and there's almost no stealth in it or anything. It's you completely miss the point. At least in Hitman, they had some of those scenes, but they were too few and far between, and then the end sequence is just a giant action sequence, and it just doesn't suit that character or that story at all, which is unfortunate, because they were kind of going in the right direction, and then it kind of dropped out. So, I mean, watch it if you want to. It's definitely the better of the two if you have the choice to watch the first one or the second one. With the second one being basically a reboot or whatever, because it did just totally devour all knowledge of the other Hitman.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch the second one only because I really like Zachary Quinto, but he's got knife-proof skin or something. I don't even know. It's weird.
One that I never did see and really never heard anything about was Max Payne. I don't know if it was good or not.
I never watched that one.
Yeah, you know what? Mark Wahlberg is entertaining watching a lot of stuff because he is a hammy actor and everything. So I don't know. Maybe it's actually good. But I've literally heard almost nothing about Max Payne. So.
Yeah, I completely forgot to watch that one. I wanted to see it at some point because my good pal of mine's a huge fan of the Max Payne series. But yeah, like I just.
Yeah, Rich, did you watch Need for Speed?
I did.
Did you watch?
Yes, I did.
Oh my god!
Watched the whole thing.
Boy!
I watched the trailer, and that was enough for me.
Michael Keane's in that movie.
Oh my
making
god!
A buck. Michael Keane's making a buck.
It's kind of funny.
It's
like it's so stupid.
It's like a generic. I kind of wish I was, but can never be Fast and Furious movie.
Oh, okay.
I guess I don't know. I mean, I've played some Need for Speed games, but I don't know what about that makes it that movie makes it Need for Speed. I don't know where it's Need for Speed in there.
Yeah, I guess it's just like if millionaires had wasted their money in stupid ways. That's essentially what that movie's about.
You know what? You know what? I don't want to say you can't blame Hollywood for it, but you can blame them if you want. I don't care. But that's exactly what they did. They had a generic Fast and Furious clone type story, what it would seem to be. But they slapped the title Need for Speed on it because that's what got people in the seats. Because if it was called, like, you know, Fast Cars, Hot Women or something like that, nobody's going to go fucking see it because they're like, oh, it's just Fast and Furious again. That has nothing attached to it. Need for Speed, though.
Fast Cars and Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Tons of people are going to go see it.
A lot of people saw it because of Aaron Paul.
And that's the thing is like, oh, that looks stupid, but I like Aaron Paul because of Breaking Bad, so I'm going to go watch it. I'm sure that got a lot of people.
There were some nice cars and stuff in it, but it was just like...
Some of the stunts weren't bad at all, and they used a lot of practical effects, but some of the crashes and the shit they did were actually like brutal in the sense that I'm like, you're actually hurting and endangering like normal people. Like, Aaron Paul, you're actually a villain in this movie. The bad guy's like less evil than you right now.
And you just don't even feel for anything that happens in the movie.
You're
like,
of course
it's
not.
like, a tragedy to the main character. You're like, okay, whatever.
See, that is just bad writing through and through. It's just like, okay, this happened and I don't even fucking care.
And then the whole last race is like, why did they do this race? Like, what was the point of this?
Okay, but I'm just going to throw this out there. If the listeners right now want to watch a bad, horrendously funny Fast and Furious, like, racing car, like, clone ripoff movie, watch a movie called Redline. You will not be disappointed.
Isn't that the anime one?
No. It has nothing to do with that anime. The anime is about future racing cars and stuff like that.
Okay, so
this
there's
movie,
just two red lines.
This movie was like, must have been like a straight to DVD, like B-side movie. It's called Redline, and holy shit, it's hilarious how bad it tries to rip off like the Fast and Furious race car genre kind of thing now that it is. But I mean, just the worst acting and just stupid storylines. And again, those situations where it's just like, this just happened, and it's just like, why is this even happening right now? But it's hilarious. I don't care. So yeah, watch Redline. It's I've seen it like 5 times. It's hilarious.
All right,
put them on the list.
Yeah.
So when it comes to movies based on video games, how about live action versus animated? Which do you think tends to be more successful?
Oh, that's actually a really good question.
Animated by far.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's interesting though, because some movie or some video games try to present themselves as real. So when you try to make the version of it for the movie real, it makes a little more sense in that vein. Whereas, I mean, overall, if you do look at the track record, obviously animated does better because it does suit video games better because video games are obviously animated. Yeah. So yeah, they tend to work better, but I mean, in the long string of things, some of them might work better as live action. I mean, with an upcoming Assassin's Creed or Uncharted movie, I don't want those to be animated. I want those to be real because they suit that. Because those games were supposed to be based on not real life characters, but you know, real human forms, real places in the world, like that kind of thing. Those can take place in real life. What we were talking about before the show was Warcraft. So the Warcraft trailer came out, and I don't mind that it's starting at the beginning of the story, because that's cool. I played Warcraft, I like the humans versus orcs thing. There's a lot of people losing their shit, because it's like, where's my blood elves? Where's my undead? It's like, that will come, don't worry. That'll be like in the 3rd or 4th movie.
Gotta be a 3rd movie, Frozen Throne.
Yeah, exactly, all that shit. So that's fine, that's cool. The part I take issue with is that Blizzard makes these mind-blowingly beautiful CG intros for all their games. Like, you look at StarCraft, you look at World of Warcraft, you look at Warcraft 3, like, all the cinematics are, like, even to this day, like, you can take something like Warcraft 3 that's, what, like 10 or 12 years old now, or even more? The cinematics are still gorgeous in that, and they do such a good job storytelling in that world. The problem I had with the new trailer was that, unfortunately, they went with real actors as the humans, and they look kind of ridiculous. Because they are normal-sized humans with oversized armor, in a completely CG world. Like, their entire castle, the entire forest, the entire world that surrounds them, even the orcs themselves, are entirely CG. So, to have one real thing, like the 99.9% of the movie CG, and you have that 0.1% of real in it, it completely wrecks it for me. It takes me out of that, because it's like, there's a disconnect there. They should have just kept 100% CG, had, whoever acting to do their voices, because obviously they're going to do a job at portraying those characters, but they should have done it maybe in mocap or something to at least add that human element to it, but they should have been completely CG, because then it could have given them their ridiculous human proportions that they have in all the games, and they would have looked like they belonged in that world better. Because right now, they just look like tiny children compared to everything else in the game, or everything else in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe we'll, they'll obviously release more trailers, we'll see more of the movie. I will see the movie anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I am going to see it, but, we'll kind of see where they go with that, because right now, it doesn't stand up to a lot of their other cinematics that they've released. Because I know that, like, when they released even the opening cinematic for, like, World of Warcraft or Diablo 3, those were so well done, and they didn't
Diablo 3 was good.
They didn't need the human element, even though they had humans in it.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, live action versus animated, it's definitely animated tends to be a little bit more successful. Of course, when it comes to, I'm not going to get too much into this because it's a whole other can of worms, but, like, when it comes to Japan making animated movies based off of their video games, those tend to be a little bit more successful for a couple of reasons. One major reason being that a lot of those games that they're based on are actually Japanese, so they get a lot of cultural references, and they just make sense. And also because sometimes these games are somewhat supposed to be anime-like.
Well, a lot of them have anime cutscenes in them, so it naturally lends itself to that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But, of course I'm going back to my good old Resident Evil, one which I love, and that one, like the
those animated ones, those are actually,
like,
they look really.
So there was Degeneration and Damnation. Damnation. So.
Yeah, and both those ones, like Damnation's not, and Degeneration's not great, but it looks really, really nice. Like, it looks great, like, and it really feels like Resident Evil. And then Damnation was just awesome in my opinion. Like, that one much more so because, like, Leon was just, like, cracking wise the whole time.
Well, because you were saying they had more fun with it. Obviously.
They did, yeah. It was very much Leon from Resident Evil 4 was, like, the main character, while Leon from, after he's seen the harsh from Resident Evil, like, 6 was the main character in the other one. But yeah, like, those are some good examples of animated movies that understand kind of what that series is about and what the video games are like, and it did a good job of, it felt like it was part of that world. Mm-hmm. If I were to go further down the rabbit hole, and I won't, I promise, but Persona 3, the movie, like, there's, like, 3 different movies in that series, and those ones, I mean, Persona's always been designed to be like anime.
Well, Persona, I mean, for not even having played the games, Persona's anime through and through. Yeah. Even the 3D CG characters look like almost 2D anime characters to begin with, and then all the cinematics are anime.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It, of course, lends itself to being turned into an anime movie. Like, it would only make sense. That's one that would be really awkward if they tried to use real humans in place of that. Because they wouldn't look like their characters. They wouldn't have ridiculous hairstyles. They wouldn't be able to get the clothing right. They just would seem out of place.
When I think more of, like, a video game anime or, like, video game animated movie, I think more of, like, Advent Children.
Like, yes.
Advent Children.
Yeah.
Or, like, which was actually a really good movie as well. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the Professor Layton movie, I don't know if you ever saw
it. I never did see that. Actually, Jamie saw that.
That one is fascinating.
I don't even like Professor Layton. I love that movie.
That one is fascinating because, like, they present you with a puzzle and actually, like, give you time to solve it.
Oh, really?
They'll be like...
So is it kind of like a kid's show? It's just like, hey, we have...
Well, they won't, like, stop the movie, but they'll, like, start discussing it among themselves while they, like, show, like, what's going on. Oh, and then you can actually, like,
so you're, like, meant to be sitting there, like, I actually wonder about that.
It's like, how could I do this? And, like, they knew what made Professor Layton work, so they understood... They put it in a movie form.
They understood the content.
They understood their fans.
That movie, obviously, again, lends itself to anime because the whole game was presented that way. Yeah. The characters were straight up 2D anime. The cutscenes
if they made them into people, that'd be weird.
Oh, God, that would look
Whereas, actually, now that you're talking about, like, Japanese anime and stuff like that, one of the ones that comes to mind where it actually would work, even though apparently they weren't very good movies, was Attack on Titan.
Oh, yeah.
Because Attack on Titan needs to be CG because of
that's already an anime. Like,
the large... Yeah, that's the thing.
This is the other way around.
Well, no, okay.
We'll save this for next episode, right? Because it's animated game.
No, the movie. I'm talking about the live-action movie.
Yeah, but that's animated movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking games then.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, that as an example of something that you can use, that's... The whole thing is created, like, 99.9% CG, but then have real humans in it. That's something that actually works, because they are normal humans in that, that world, and then... But they need CG everything else because of the mass amounts of destruction and everything like that. So
I heard those movies are terrible.
Yeah, so apparently, but just stick with the anime then. But yeah, the Professor Layton one, I actually do want to watch that.
It's actually very good.
It's really, I watched it with you. You told me. Yeah, I love that movie. I don't even play Professor Layton games. That movie was fantastic. One thing that I just want to mention too, as far as animated movies goes, one of the best video game movies made in North America was Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That one was interesting. I think that one was maybe even a little more successful because they didn't need to anchor themselves to any storyline.
Yeah.
They had the freedom to write their own stuff.
Yeah.
And then just tell a couple video game characters to kind of come along with them. And
well,
I thought that was really tastefully done.
The focus was a good movie first.
Yes, absolutely. So. I mean, it's not Pixar, but it's the other guys. DreamWorks, right?
No, it was Disney's animation studio. It wasn't Pixar, because they have got their own animation studio, and then they got Pixar, who they basically own.
Oh, so so they were both Disney movies.
Yeah. Wreck-It Ralph is Disney movie.
Okay.
Like, it's like the same guys who did like Bolt and Tangled and because those aren't Pixar,
okay,
but
right.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I thought it was... Because I know that there's, like, the counterpart thing of, like, it's almost like that's their good and evil, or they're, like... You know, it's like the rival company, basically, that, like, we also make CG movies, and we're going to copy what Pixar does, but we're going to do our own thing.
That's more DreamWorks, I guess.
Is it DreamWorks, then? Okay.
Yeah, but, you know, their movies are kind of up and down as far as success goes.
Yeah, they definitely don't hit home like Pixar does, like, almost every single time.
I would really love to see some, like, actual video game Pixar movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like an actual, like...
If they took a franchise?
Yeah, took a franchise and just worked with it.
Yeah. Well, actually, if there's something you could think of, you should save that for the
final
question.
question.
Yeah, because that's a great idea. So just as far as... So what is your favorite video game-based movie? That could be, like, anything, like, even if it's an animated one, and why? And which one's the worst you've seen? Doesn't have to be... Or at least the one that you dislike least. Doesn't have to be the worst one, the one that you dislike least. And why? I think I have an answer for this, so...
Okay, you shoot first. I'm going to take a look at this list, because I'm sure it's on here.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite one, actually, is the live-action Phoenix Wright movie from...
Oh, damn, me too!
Yeah, like
it's so good.
That movie really understood...
That movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It really understood... And again, I guess it's one of those series where it's very much story-based, where the mechanics aren't quite as important. Yeah. But that movie really understood what it meant to be Phoenix Wright. Like, even just the camera angles and the intense zoom-ins and zoom-outs, like, there's a lot of post-production for sure, similar to, like, Scott Pilgrim or something.
The funny thing is all the characterizations that were all, like, too goofy.
Yeah.
Were actually, like, in that movie as live action, too.
What I love, too, because they did such ridiculous stuff. Like, one of my favorite jokes, it's such a dumb throwaway joke, but I loved it, because... You know, anime always has this, like, I think they did this a lot more in 90s anime. They don't do it so much now. When a character does or says something stupid, they fall over. Right?
Yeah.
They had that in that movie. It was great, because there's this moment where Edgeworth, or somebody was just like, somebody described Edgeworth as being really flappy and stuff like that, and saying, and incriminating him, or something, and Edgeworth is like, no, stop! And everybody looks at him, he's like, I am not that flappy! And then everybody falls over. And it was, like, really great. Like, I'm like,
so good.
Wow, like, they actually did that. That was live action thing of a bunch of people falling to the side because somebody said they were really stupid. I mean, that was so clever.
But that's something you'd only get in a Japanese movie, though, because that's that type of joke. Like, they get it. It's like, if you presented that in an American theater, it would fall flat. Like, no pun intended.
But the funny thing is, they don't use their own culture in, like, American movies either. Like, they should understand their games better. As the people who made the Phoenix Wright movie really understood their fans, and they understood their game.
Yeah.
So, like, they put in all the parts that they could put in that felt relevant to the story. Like, they left out a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it's the first game, essentially.
Of course.
Well, again, and it's a movie. You have 2 hours tops to tell a story, so you have to cut stuff out.
Right.
Just like changing a book to a movie. There's stuff you have to cut out because you can't make a 6-hour movie.
And one thing that they added in that wasn't quite in the games, like, because, you know, in the games it's supposed to be like the future, quote unquote, right? Essentially, right? But even with like our integration of like future technology in the courtrooms, right? They didn't
that was
really have
cool.
it in the game, but it was awesome in that movie. Like, yeah, this actually makes a lot of sense.
Whoa, like it all like comes out.
Look at all the evidence. Yeah,
like they realized the game mechanics in the real world sort of thing, which was very interesting.
Yeah, it was very clever.
Like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. So, honorable mention. And this was an animated one for me. Like, not my favorite, but honorable mention goes to the weird Sonic CD movie they made in Japan. I got that one on VHS. I need to find it on DVD.
Didn't even know this
existed. It's look it up. It's really silly, but it's actually what I liked about it too. It's another one where, like, oddly enough, their game seemed to understand what made Sonic. There's actually a sequence where a really interesting action sequence, which just has music, where Sonic and Tails are running through an area, and it's just them dodging traps and doing shit. It was actually really cool. There's a weird part where Sonic gives a robot the middle finger, but that's fine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, like, and then Knuckles is in there. He's got this weird Australia hat. It's very strange, but he's also like the butt of so many jokes. Which they got what Knuckles' role is in that franchise.
Yeah.
But what I actually really liked, and this is an odd thing, because one thing I'm super picky. Again, Sonic fans were fucking crazy. But one thing I actually really find interesting about Sonic the Hedgehog is the distinction between the character's speed. Where Sonic is like really fast, Tails is also almost as fast as Sonic, but not quite. And Knuckles is slower than both of them. They actually got that right in that movie, which is really surprising. Not something I expected at all. But
they're
they
all
did.
just like running happy next to each other. And
Well, yeah, because when Sonic and Tails are running, Tails can keep up with Sonic, but Knuckles isn't as fast as them, so he can't. And both Sonic and Tails, again, that anime thing, that after image thing, both Sonic and Tails are fast enough to do the after image thing. Knuckles can't do that because he's not fast enough. Small details like that I love. And so, yeah, they're fought.
So they clearly understood the content, and they went with it, and they wrote it in as such. So
Absolutely.
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
That sounds like they did a good job
So,
with that.
yeah, if you can find that one, look it up. It's kind of interesting. And then my most painful one was probably Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh, God.
As you know, if you've watched or listened to previous episodes, like, I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. Like, I absolutely love Street Fighter. I love the stories. I love the characters. I love that world. It's just really interesting. It's funny because again, love the franchise, bad at the games, but I fucking love it. I was not a fan of Kristen Cruick at all because of Smallville. Oh, boy. I just, whatever. But
and that's also that kind of, like, is she only kind of like part Asian, or is she not Asian at all? Because that. You know what? That's the thing, is Americanization of a movie like that. It's an American movie, and they took a character that is straight up supposed to be Chinese, and made her American.
Yeah, well,
but made her look slightly Asian to not offend people?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Or to offend more people?
Or offend more people? I don't know.
Yeah, well, Kristen Cruick, I believe she's part Asian, but I know, like, she's actually Canadian. Like, she was born in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Which I knew from, like, ages ago, just because I was fucking pissed about Smallville. Like, I believe she's part Chinese, but, like, again, like, that's part of the problem when it comes to movies, when they're Americanizing things, is like, we need to make it palatable for our viewers. So if somebody's only part Chinese, they look Asian enough, but they're not quite Asian, so it's fine, right? That's kind of the way Hollywood works. And
I guess so.
Gross, but it's true.
Sorry. Let's keep going.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll just finish real quick. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, they need to... we can't have a main character be fully Asian on the screen because they'll think it's a Chinese movie. That's actually the way they talk in Hollywood and things. It's actually
That's horrible.
Yeah. But and then also again, that storyline was weird. Like, it was all about Chun-Li's past, which could have been interesting, but then it wasn't. And then they threw in a bunch of other weird characters.
You know what else wasn't interesting about that movie? Chris Klein. Get the guy or Calvin.
Oh,
Is the other?
Oh,
he was an American.
Yeah,
guy.
it was Chris Klein. Yeah,
Chris Klein.
He was Charlie Nash.
That guy's about as entertaining as a piece of drywall. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird casting things. Like, I mean,
it was horrible. Like, me and my cousin watched it because we wanted to watch a bad movie, and we literally found it at Walmart for $2, and I was like, $2. This will be worth $2. It was maybe worth about $1.05.
Yeah, if that. I think the thing that made me the most upset. Well, I mean, I think it's Neil Dona, whatever. Oh yeah, well he was M. Bison, which was a weird choice in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think Balrog was the most aggravating one for me because he's like this guy named Taboo. He's like some sort of rapper. Like, it's just, why would you cast him? He's Vega. I always get the check stuff for no reason, stupid. But Vega, he played Vega. Like, that's not that character at all.
Yeah.
Like, Vega's like elegant and like he's that anime cliche of like, oh, I'm so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
He's supposed to be,
Spanish.
he's Spanish to begin with, and he's supposed to have, finesse and charisma and stuff like that, and he's supposed to be like a bullfighter, basically, and he was not that at all in that movie.
Yeah, he was like some rough and tumble rapper guy, kind of, or whatever, and it was just like, none of this reflects, and again, it doesn't have to be one-to-one, but you have to have something of that character in the thing, right? It didn't reflect it at all.
If you didn't call him that, there would have been no reference to that character at all.
Exactly.
And
so,
yeah, but I mean, going in, you didn't expect much out of it too. It's just like you guys. Okay, you took a beloved license like Street Fighter. And like, what is the shittiest movie we could make out of this? And it's like, let's tell Chun-Li's backstory and just focus on that for 2 hours. It's like, really? That's what you want to do with Street Fighter? You have all these amazing characters that love to kick the shit out of each other, and we're going to take one character and talk about her boring-ass storyline. Like, that's it?
Well, it's a shame, because, like, Chun-Li's one of my favorite characters, but her actual story is not super interesting. What's more interesting is how she relates to the other characters.
I find it more interesting when she kicks the shit out of people.
Well, well, she's part of Interpol, so she interacts with a lot of different characters. Her and Guile work together quite often, because they're both, like, Guile's part of the military, she's part of Interpol. It's like, hey, let's work together. Okay, we're friends. Like, it's awesome. But oh, God. Anyway, that's enough about that. Somebody else talk.
Yeah, so, mine, it's like, I've kind of like a pseudo one, you had mentioned it before. Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Because it's technically based on, like, a Canadian manga, almost, at that point.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of based on video game, and it's kind of, they're all one.
Yeah.
Like, they're all the same thing, just in different formats.
Yeah.
But Scott Pilgrim is probably one of my top 5 favorite films of all time.
Same here.
Because it is just so entertaining. Like, for anyone that loves video games in general, you can't not like that movie, because it just oozes that like video game character. It's just in everything they do, like the little sprites of people's heads when they're doing different stuff, and the little sound effects, and how people interact with each other awkwardly or just like over the top sometimes, and they just fucking nailed everything in that. And whether you're reading the manga, playing the video game, or watching the movie, you feel like you're just enjoying it all over again. And no matter what format you're playing it in or enjoying it in, it's just so well done. And that's definitely one of my favorites. One of my other favorites is kind of just looking at this list, I was like, oh my god, I forgot that it even existed, but it was really good. The Fatal Fury anime movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Because I liked Fatal Fury as a game. It wasn't too bad. I liked some of the characters and stuff. And then I remember one of my buddies who was like getting me into anime. Basically, he would go out of his way to find these like really weird or like hard ones to get your hands on, and he showed me Fatal Fury, and I was just like, holy fuck, this is amazing. Like, this is... It's like... Because I watched the Street Fighter one, too, and it kind of reminded me of that, but that's because they got that content. It was like, we have these awesome characters, they look exactly like what they're supposed to, because they're based on anime-style characters anyways. But you get to see them fight, and rather than getting your ass handed to you if you suck at fighting games, you actually get to see them succeed in amazing ways in this movie. And it's interesting, because Fatal Fury actually has some interesting storylines for the characters, because they're all kind of like martial arts based and everything, rather than them just being over the top about corporations and dead fathers and stuff like that. Like, it's not like Tekken or DOA and stuff like that. It was a little more grounded, and it was cool. Like, it was really well done, even for, I think it was like a late 90s anime or something like that. It was, I want to watch it again, because I remember really, really enjoying it. I think I saw it like 3 or 4 times after you showed me that one. So, So yeah, basically Fatal Fury anime and Scott Pilgrim. If you've never seen that, go fucking watch that one, because it's epic.
What about one of the worst ones, or ones that crushed you?
Oh shit. Yeah, like I hands down, I have to agree that Chun-Li one was horrible, but I'm going to be fair and say that I was not expecting anything from that movie.
Fair enough.
Whereas I think, I have to side with a lot of other people and say Super Mario Brothers was definitely... Because it's not only one of the worst video game movies of all time, it is literally just one of the worst movies of all time. It is just atrocious. It is the Superman 64 movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they just swing and a miss on basically every factor in that movie. Plus, reading the backstory of like how it was filmed and all the problems they had and stuff like that just makes it extra depressing. So it literally is just... It has to be voted one of the worst of all time, and it is just that bad. It's not even entertaining to watch. It's that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely my vote on that one.
Garry?
Mine have been covered.
Well, I mean, if you have anything else to say on them, though, or
please.
Phoenix Wright movie is just like.
I have to see that one though. I've heard it's very entertaining.
It's probably the best. Like the best way to do a live action of like something that's supposed to be really anime.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did a really good job of adapting the characters to real people.
Yeah,
right.
Even their hair and stuff.
Like their hair and all their weird traits are all there.
And they just have like straight up costumes from the game and everything. Like
yeah,
looks like
they look a bit more formal. Like
sorry, I'm just going to cut in real quick, because I think the difference between that and, like, say, Resident Evil is, like, Resident Evil has a bunch of characters, and then there's the game characters that are dressed. They don't look like anybody else. While this one, everybody, like, they made the clothes look formal and real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody sort of fit into the universe.
But you can still tell who people are supposed to be. Like Phoenix Wright obviously
you look at everybody.
Yeah, obviously
even
has a blue suit with a red tie and a spiked hair.
The, like, small time like, characters in that game.
Yeah.
They all look right.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty great. Aside from that, Advent Children's a really good one. Like, it's amazing what they could have done.
Well, I mean, because I think we can all agree that we're all fans of Seven. So, seeing Advent Children in its kind of like newer animated glory was just like, oh yes, give me more of this.
And it's pretty much exactly what people wanted. It was like a continuation, essentially. Of
and that's good. They listened to what people wanted and they went with it. It's just like, here you go. You want more Seven? Here's more of the story.
Yeah.
You want to see some kick-ass like everything?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Absolutely amazing music to go with a fucking
everything fit in well. It was a good one. For probably the worst, it was probably another Final Fantasy one.
Oh, you didn't like Spirits Within? Like that's...
No.
I didn't mind that movie.
I think I was expecting more Final Fantasy.
I think
and then when I saw that, I was just like, oh no.
No, absolutely.
I was expecting just like a Final Fantasy movie. And it wasn't anything close to that. It was just like the namesake.
It was definitely an odd choice. I'll give you that much because
it was just taking the name and making their own movie. So it was like whatever.
And like a couple concepts from like the
Final
Fantasy
very few.
world basically of Gaia and materia and stuff.
But
like that.
even like Gaia and stuff could be just like not even Final Fantasy. It could just be like. Mythology,
I guess so.
Like, whatever.
It was some weird, like, science fiction with fantasy mixed in the movie. Like, it didn't quite. It was. I feel like if it was
Final
a
Fantasies
movie,
have always been kind of science fiction.
Yeah.
Like, not always, but like most of
I think a lot, when they started out, they were more medieval because that was kind of what was popular at the time, like cool D&D, like, Dragon Hunter, all that kind of stuff like that. But
by the time they got to 4, they were kept doing that.
And then like, and then when they got to 6, they had that, they were definitely getting more into that steampunk with mix of tech and medieval. And then 7
well, they really added more politics into it at that point.
That too, and then 7 was like, almost it flipped that side where it was like, this is more technology, but it's a little bit of medieval because people still wore armors, people still had swords, there were still castle-esque areas and everything like that, but it was definitely higher on the technology side then.
No, it's interesting. I feel like it'll, like just like you say, Gary, it's like it kind of pastes that name there, and again, the expectations made it, and that's why it's one of the most crushing, right? Because it's like the expectations for one thing.
You were like, I'm gonna see this Final Fantasy movie, it's gonna be great.
And then it's just like, this isn't.
It's not Final Fantasy.
If they put a different name on that movie, it probably would have done a little bit better. Like if it was its own thing. But again, how do you get butts?
And the other one was just like Mario.
Mario. Yeah, I think we're all agreed that Mario was just an atrocity.
That's bad.
No, for sure. So I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit, but just like kind of just some thoughts about the trailer for the Warcraft movie.
I didn't know that was going to be like a specific topic. Or I wouldn't have launched off on it.
No worries. Well, I mean, like I just want to let my 2 cents. Like I haven't really played the Warcraft series that much because I never had computers that could handle it.
So which ones did you play then?
Well, I watched my friend play a lot of Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 because I've never been good at RTS.
Warcraft 3 is when the story got really good.
Yeah, and
they got very involved because they added the undead and the elves at that point, I think.
Yeah, and then they started the whole like. War between all the factions sort of thing, and the undead trying to take over out of nowhere.
That's when the shit hit the proverbial fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And what was cool about that stuff too was like again the music and the storylines were really fascinating. I'm like, wow, this is actually really neat. So when World of Warcraft came along and I actually finally had a computer that could play the damn thing, I jumped on top of it. As that was probably the first MMO I ever actually played, and I was kind of surprised. I'm like, this isn't quite what I expected, but But I actually played the story quest. I was like, the story's actually kind of the same. It's pretty good. Like all the, some of the characters were there, and the story was actually like I barely remember it at this point now because that was years ago since I've been engaged with the series. So I don't have the strongest connection to World of Warcraft. But I mean, I kind of have to echo a lot of the same stuff that Dan was saying. When I saw that trailer, I had like little to no impact on me, which was unfortunate. I was like, this looks kind of generic and also silly because the armor looks like really awesome cosplay, but as a movie, it looks not good.
They just look like they shouldn't be there. And I don't know. I've already said my bit. I don't care. Don't worry, Blizzard. You're still gonna get my money. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, I guess Duncan Jones is making it too, and I guess I like Moon. I don't know if I've seen any other Duncan Jones films.
The director of Moon is directing Warcraft?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting to say the least.
Right? Like, it's like, I don't even know what to expect. Like, I mean, when you hear J.J. Abrams making Star Wars, and you're like, okay, I guess I get it.
He's an action guy. Like,
yeah.
I understand it. That's what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you've ever seen Moon, you would not even think anywhere close to doing an epic, like, medieval fantasy thing like Warcraft.
And I love Moon.
Moon is an excellent.
Moon is an excellent movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's just like I don't know. Like I don't know what else he's done, and I'm not super familiar with his stuff. But I guess I watched Source Code. I fucking hate that movie.
As do a lot of people, actually.
I hate that movie. I don't understand that on Tomatoes rating. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna wait to see more, and I'm not the main target for this movie anyway, because again, I'm not the hugest Warcraft fan, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's a cool franchise and it has interesting stories. You can do a lot with it. When I was talking to my older brother about it, I was like, we understand why they're going for the beginning Warcraft story, but I was like, what would be awesome is if they took like a different story from that pantheon of Warcraft. And I know you can't because it's their first movie, but again, I always love it when they're able to take smaller stories and make it a little bit more intimate, because when I'm watching about two big armies running at each other, unfortunately, because I'm a viewer of modern cinema, you start thinking Lord of the Rings. That's what happens, which is unfortunate, and it doesn't look as awesome or interesting as Lord of the Rings because it's all kind of CG and there's a bunch of people that are each other. Like, if it was a full CG movie, that'd be one thing. But I was like, I would love it if they took one of the more intimate, smaller stories within anywhere from Warcraft to World of Warcraft, any of those, because there's so many different storylines in that series, and they took one of the smaller situations and made a movie about that, where they can actually focus on a small group of characters, really what's driving them, why they're there, and have a really awesome story about that. I mean, they're not going to do that, but dreams.
Well, you never know. It's they could hit it big, and they have multiple movies, and they'll have maybe some side movies that they'll do straight to DVD kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, do all that shit. Who knows? I mean, it's Blizzard. They've got more money than anyone. So
yes, this is true. Garry, any thoughts on the?
I actually do like that they're going back to the first one. But the only reason it seems like they're doing that though is to make it into a movie franchise.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. They're thinking bling bling trilogy right from the start.
A big problem with going back to the first one when there's only orcs and humans is where is everybody else? They just happen to appear when they're needed for the other movies.
You know what? I am not deep into World of Warcraft lore, as some people are. I'm sure that they could explain to you where all those guys come from, probably other dimensions or planets or whatever. But yeah, as it stands at that point, I know why they're doing it. Not only because
once they add in the pandas and shit, it'll be like, what the fuck's going on?
Oh, I need to see that just to see people.
Kung Fu Panda will be
I was gonna say, it's like the
cameo
of the fourth movie, and then fucking Pandaria will show up, and they'll have Jack Black's Kung Fu Panda in the background, doing shit or something.
Oh my god!
But aside from that, it's actually kind of nice to see them going back to the beginning like that, just because
and
some of those beginning stories were pretty good.
I do like that they're getting it kind of not out of the way per se, but they're doing it first.
Yeah,
isn't they're doing this big epic movie with all 8 or 10 of the races, however many the fuck there are now, and having this big epic background stuff, and it's and then the second one's gonna be a prequel. And then you dial back the action, the story, everything. It's no, start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Start with the core story, which they're doing, which is good. Thumbs up on that, Blizzard. And then go from there. And then you can only get better from that point.
Because, if they really wanted, the big story, Warcraft 3 would have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when all the shit hits the fan, and it's pretty much Game of Thrones up in here.
Yeah.
So, that's where they would want to start it if they were thinking of one-off. But, it's definitely a movie franchise at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guaranteed trilogy, if not more.
I did like the design, of the orcs and stuff, I felt like they were trying to shoehorn like the armor and stuff in, like to make it all like really fit the Warcraft universe, but like you said, the people don't really fit in there.
Mm-hmm. Like figuratively and literally.
Yeah. But aside from that, there's a lot of good material in there, so like they'll have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, they do have a lot of lore. They do have a lot of stuff that lends itself well to filmmaking, I think. I
just hope that when the credits roll, they have like a little text bar in the bottom that someone types in Big Daddy, and then a car starts ripping around killing everybody. Because that would be awesome.
That would be pretty amazing.
And that's pretty great to do in the credits.
And
it doesn't even fucking matter anymore, right?
Yeah, Blizzard does like their Easter eggs, so who knows? They might do something.
Because
like
that's
that.
what I would do.
Yeah.
Or like if they made a Diablo movie, like you just secret cow world.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just like, what is
going
on
here?
here?
Running through the world, killing a bunch of cows, and you're just like, what is happening? That'd be awesome. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for our topics, guys.
Wait,
what do you want to
I don't know if you had another question.
Yeah,
on there.
Oh yeah, no, that was actually the last thing I was going to say.
Okay.
But like, if you just, what do you feel like would make a good, like, what video game would you feel like make a good live action Hollywood movie, like Hollywood style movie? Like, just focusing on that, which one do you think it would?
It has to be live action or animated?
I'd say live action, just for the purpose.
I have one.
Yeah.
You do? Okay, shoot.
And I've been excited for this ever since I saw the very first trailer of the game.
Yep.
Because the very first trailer of the game was more of a live action movie. It's if you ever watch the first trailer for Sleeping Dogs.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, and you see that?
Hell
like,
yes.
Damn, that would make a good movie.
Oh,
because
man.
like they could totally do it. It has all the right set pieces, and it's not as dependent on gameplay. It has a really good story as well. So I feel like they can do it, and they have already like shown that they can do it with that.
Oh, and I mean it is based on that genre through.
Oh yeah,
the gritty like just like Asian gang fights, gunfights, martial arts. Like it works through and through. They've done tons of movies of them. So yes, Sleeping Dogs would be an amazing one.
That.
Yes, straight
up.
The one. Yeah, basically, which ones would come to mind for me would be, I think, if they wrote it right and they had a director that understood the content, I think Bloodborne would make an amazing movie because of how dark and cinematic it is already in its presentation. Like you look at stuff like I don't know, even with something kind of campy like the first Batman that Tim Burton did. Even in that kind of realm, it's like you have that beautiful music and you have those gothic buildings and you have like kind of all that, and you really get that feel that you're there, even though it's a little bit ridiculous. It's like imagine Bloodborne with all those gothic buildings and crazy good music and like these insane weapons and weird creatures and stuff like that. Like I think that game would lend itself to a movie very, very well if it's written right.
Yeah.
Because I think for the most part, it's like there are things you could cut out. Because there's a bunch of lore, but as far as the story in the game goes, it's kind of there, but kind of not. Like, you could literally just make your movie, and you wouldn't have to tell a lot of story. It would just be a very, very beautiful set piece almost to watch the fights and everything.
Very artistic.
And then another one, which I think would be amazing, and they're probably going to do it at some point, is make a Fallout movie.
Yeah.
About, just, the vaults and just, all the crazy weapons and irradiated enemies and all that shit like that. Like, they did a live-action trailer for Fallout 4 already, and I was watching it, and I'm like, this is a movie. They could make this a movie right now.
Speaking of vaults, I have another one.
Oh, do you? Okay, go
Borderlands.
Shoot. Oh, fuck! Borderlands!
I was going to say that one.
Oh, fuck.
I was going to say that one.
Okay, well, have your part.
We'll let you do it then.
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, so I've got a couple, but Borderlands is definitely up there. It's interesting because as the Borderlands franchise seems to get larger, the storyline gets more and more interesting and intricate. And again, there's a lot of different places where you can zero in on what's going on and why you can make an interesting story about that. I think specifically, during or after like the Borderlands 2 stuff is when the story gets gets quite in depth. And again, like you can totally make a live action movie about that, but you have to make sure you get the humor down as well because that story, like Borderlands, even they do a good job of actually like some emotional, serious stuff at points.
Yeah.
But like that story is so irreverent, and the thing about that series is that somehow you start to care about these characters. But even despite that, the value of life in that world is like so low. Like people just fucking die
just
all
like,
the time. Nobody gives a shit.
Like,
Yeah,
psychos just ride around with bombs all the time.
And even though that one is CG and people have some weirder proportions to their bodies and stuff, I think that one would translate well to actual humans.
Yeah,
playing
they could do it.
Those
They could,
characters.
yeah.
And Gearbox would definitely have to write the script for it, I think.
Oh, absolutely. They need to have somebody involved for
Because
sure.
they have that humor through and through, as we've seen in like the Battleborn trailer and stuff like that. Like they take that sense of humor, put it into a movie, and present it that way. I mean, I would watch it. I would definitely watch that.
I guess that's the biggest issue with Hollywood, Because no one who makes the actual games have any bearing on what happens.
It's very rare, but it is happening more and more. Like
and that's why I said it's getting closer.
Yeah, because a lot of video game companies that are like dealing with these Hollywood producers and stuff saying, if you want our thing, we have to have input in it now. Because they don't want their name tarnished by a bad movie. And that's totally reasonable. I think that's the way to do it. So,
Absolutely. I feel like I was gonna say Overwatch, but I feel like I'd be cheating on that one too. That would be animated, so I won't get into that. And I haven't even played the game, so I can't even say.
That is even out yet.
Yeah. Bullshit that exists.
Yeah,
that's just trailers at this point, which is just movies.
Yeah. It is a movie already.
You're right. But like the big one is like Metroid. I've always wanted to. I know that
Metroid would be amazing.
Yeah, like I see that's one thing I think of Duncan Jones make a good movie of, but like it just. Oh, sorry. What were you?
Did you just see that fan thing that came
out? I did, and that was very cathartic to watch because I was like, you know what? If they did something like this on a larger scale, and made an actual movie, because I think that you can, and it just shows. And granted, again, that one's like only 11 minutes long, but it really shows that you can make a cool Metroid story that has very little dialogue, like mostly just isolation, and be Samus in like one place. And sure, in the later games, specifically Prime 3, she's got a lot of interaction with other characters, and it still works. Like it's still a good game. I mean,
but as we've seen in Moon, though, isolation can be a character itself.
Exactly, exactly. And then we could have, I think it would really lend itself, because I think a lot of the problem, too, is like, this is a video game movie, we have to have action. And of course, a Metroid movie
is a badass chick shooting everything.
Exactly. and yeah, the movie will have that, but I would love it if there were moments, like, similar to, again, like, this movie hurts my soul, but Prometheus, at the beginning when David's on his own and he's doing a bunch of stuff or whatever, parts with Samus is like that. Maybe she's singing a song to herself, or she's just in her ship, like, playing with something, or reading logs or something like that. Just a part where she's traveling between places and just doing small things where you're like starting to understand what this character is all about, even though she's on her own and not talking to people.
Because you look at something like Super Metroid. That game presented you with this overbearing fear and sense of this dread, like this alone dread, because you were on this planet, this almost dead planet by yourself, and all there is aliens trying to kill you, basically. And you just, when you go back into there and the music is there, it's just, for Super Nintendo, it is super deep. Like, it just draws you in with that music and that world, and it's absolutely amazing to play. And to watch that in a movie, if that came through in a movie, it would be amazing.
Sorry for the thumping.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're our neighbors.
Yeah. Definitely not going to be able to get that out of there.
They're clearly fixing something. We'll try to level it out.
Those are clearly in there.
Yeah.
They'll level it out.
Oh, no, I'm being clubbed over the head. No. It's not happening. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we're almost done here anyways.
Yeah, I think we're almost good.
Metroid, good choice.
Yeah. I want that to happen.
I believe they should make a Marvel vs. Capcom movie.
Oh my god!
Holy
Jean-Claude Van Damme reprises his role as Guile.
Oh my god! Why did you say that? Now that's all I wanted. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Oh no! With all the Marvel actors? Oh god! Fucking, god.
Would that be weird?
Do you understand
Oh,
the logistics and cost of a movie like that?
No, it has to happen. Ming-Na Wen would be Chun-Li, and then Tony Stark would be like,
and then actual Phoenix, right? From the Japanese movie?
Yes, but I love it because, like, Ming-Na Wen would be, like, Chun-Li, and then, because she's also in S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony Stark would be like, hey, aren't you Agent May? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm Chun-Li. She's like, wait, what? Oh, my God. So much room
that would be epic and probably the most expensive movie.
That would probably be the most horrible movie.
It'd be like the movie 40. It would be like the movie 43 of video game movies.
Oh god.
But I wanted that. Good lord.
I must have it.
All right. Anything else on that, guys? Or
no, I think that's about it.
Nope.
I'm sure there's other ones. There's obviously other ones, but yeah, those are a couple I can think of. So.
Okay. Well, we might as well round out with what we've been doing. Anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I haven't been playing a lot of video games this week, but there is one that I got to finally experience the other night, even though I didn't get to play it on Oculus Rift, unfortunately.
You got to party?
But no. It's we had a laptop and there was 4 of us, and we played Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
Oh, nice.
And that was a lot of fun. We played that for about an hour and a half.
Cool.
Diffused a few bombs. Blew up a lot of times. But yeah, that one is an absolute blast. We'll have to play that one at some point because it is a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and then outside that, we were playing sport games. We were playing Pandemic Legacy. We played some Risk Legacy. And played some Ikusa, which is basically Risk, but in feudal Japan.
Nice.
With more army management. So, yeah, those were all solid. The Legacy games are amazing. Like, Risk Legacy and Pandemic Legacy are awesome if you've never played them before, and you are a big board gamer, like you want to play like every week or every 2 weeks. Those ones are awesome because they change as you go along. So, as stuff happens in the game, there's sealed packages and sealed envelopes in these boxes. And basically, when you trigger stuff in a game, there will be rules saying, oh, well, if this happens in a fight, or if this part of the board gets taken over, or this happens, open box C, or open envelope A, and all of a sudden, there will be cards, or extra units, or a new rule, and they are literally stickers that you put in the rule book, put on your character card, put on the board, and they permanently change and scar the game. So it changes how it plays, in both Pandemic and in Risk. They're both legacy games, so they do that. And you basically, it's almost like telling a story at that point because the board game constantly changes what's happening because of all these rule changes and introduction of new characters and just how rules change and stuff. So it's very, very cool. So I would suggest getting either one of those, if not both, if you're big board gamers. So
cool.
So yeah, that's how we spent most of our Saturday.
Awesome. For me, let's see, what did I do? I watched Terminator Genesis finally, and I don't know. Just telling the guys earlier,
I don't know why.
I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. Like it's just.
You don't know why there's a lie in the title?
Yeah, that too. I mean, come on, guys. Like, oh, it's interesting, and that's the name of the OS in the movie. Shut up. Like whatever, man. Like that movie. It's not even like it's that bad. Like it's just not good. Like there's nothing to it. It's a very nothing movie. Like. The action sequences were incredibly generic. They weren't interesting at all. Like, I was bored during a helicopter chase scene. I feel like that should never happen, but, lo and behold, right? Like, I don't like Jai Courtney. I don't know what it is. I just can't stand that guy ever, and he's... So
it's probably the same thing. I don't like Matt Damon, so...
yeah. Like
even if I absolutely love the movie and he did an excellent job, like I love the Bourne movies, I still don't like Matt Damon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, it'd be... I honestly do wish I've seen a Jai Courtney movie that I actually enjoyed, or it's him in something but he's just constantly in bad things, and he's also bad, so, it's... he hasn't had his Matt Damon moment yet. I don't know if he will. But yeah, and he was, like, I mean, it was funny because talking to my older brother, he's like, oh, well, they just kind of threw him in, and what can you do? Like, was he important? I'm like, well, he was Kyle Reese, so he's a little important to the story.
Pretty fucking important in the Terminator storyline.
Yeah, so he was there, and they had Emilia Clarke as Lyndall Hamilton's Sarah Connor, which never, I mean, you can't replace Lyndall Hamilton. You just can't. So
it never works.
And the problem with that movie, too, was, like, it can't stand on its own legs. Like, everything was pretty much callbacks to the first 2 movies.
And it was the arm nudge. Hey, remember when this happened? Remember that guy?
Yeah, like, that's pretty much it. And I was just like, yeah, I do, and I like that so much more.
Yeah.
So that movie was quite nothing. I'm no better or worse for watching it, really, but whatever. Let's see, I was playing more Tales from the Borderlands. Now that game is really awesome. I think I'm on episode 3 now, and again,
there's 5, I think.
There's 5 episodes, yeah, and again, like, it's great because, as I said before, like, it's awesome to spend time with characters that aren't ultimate badasses. And it's funny whenever you do meet one of the badass, like, Vault Hunters, right? Because, like, right now, recently I just met, slight spoiler, but I'm not going to tell the context or why, but just met Athena, right?
Okay.
And she's got this really, really funny situation with another character where there's, like, a misunderstanding, and she completely fumbles it, and you can either choose to back her up or not back her up, and I fucking didn't, because I'm a terrible person. But then she comes back again or whatever, and, it's funny because Athena's, like, it's great seeing that character outside of the regular context. I actually haven't played her DLC in the first Borderlands, but I'm playing as her in the pre-sequel. And it's great kind of seeing her from the outside, because people see Athena's insane and dangerous, and she's totally insane and dangerous. Like, anything that has to do with Atlas, she wants to fucking destroy and burn to the ground. And she's like, so what would you do if there were a bunch of Atlas guys here, if this place is active? She's like, oh, I'd burn it to the ground and kill everyone in the facility. And you're just like,
okay, you need help.
yeah, she needs a hug, or several hugs, and then maybe a tranquilizer. And then there's some great, awesome moments, because there's some awesome fourth wall breaking stuff. And they kind of poke fun at some of the Telltale tropes as well, because I always hated, like, even I like, you know, The Walking Dead, and I like this game, but I always hate so-and-so will remember that, because I always start second that's maybe my own thing, but I'll start second guessing the choices I make whenever I see that, even if it's a good thing. I'm like, fuck, what should I have done? But they make fun of that a couple times, because, like, something happens, and then something pops in the corner, like, you will remember that moment, and it's like, that was totally awesome. I was like, the hell? And then there's another time where another character who shows up, like, or whatever, so-and-so will remember that. He's talking, and so, because you respond to something, and he says so-and-so will remember that. He's talking, just stops, looks at that, he's like, the hell is that? I was like, wow.
Yeah, so they clearly had, like, Gearbox humor. They had fun with it, so that's great.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that one's a huge plus, so, really enjoying that. And, yeah, that's kind of it for me.
All right, Gary, what you been doing?
Working.
Yeah, you've been working
that's
a
no
lot.
fun.
Yeah. Doing inventory and stuff.
Why have you been working so much, Gary?
Kitchen manager went on holiday.
Yeah, so he's on holiday for, what, a month or something like that?
3 weeks, so I'm in my second week of it now.
Oh, man.
I haven't died yet, so I'm good.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
and it's extra brutal because you have a PS4 sitting at home that you don't get to play.
I played it a bit.
Yeah.
I got to the horrible thing that happens in Tales of Zestiria.
Oh, wait, when you say horrible, do you mean, like, horrible as in it's annoying, or horrible as in, like, the big plot twist?
It's not really either.
Oh.
It's just, like, horrible is it, like, they wrote out a character.
Uh-oh.
And she just doesn't come back, sort of thing. It's like when you're watching a TV show and they're just like, oh, I gotta go home now, and then you never see them again.
Oh, that's
like,
bullshit.
But my contract's up, so bye.
Yeah.
Well, bye then.
Oh, that's annoying.
Like, I think she'll probably come back, but she won't come back as a party character ever, I don't think.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place right now.
You have to invest time and items and stuff like that into the character, right? Like, what's that like?
So Final Fantasy 7.
It's called a replacement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will be a replacement.
Oh, they did that in Tales of Symphonia as well, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering if you know, or
so they will be equally powerful when they come in.
More, much more.
So do you
but
know?
Like, I don't know if she's as good of a character.
Yeah. Will it be the case that, like, and this is in Symphonia, so I may be totally off the mark, but will it be the case at some point you'll be able to choose which of those characters? No? Oh, that sucks.
No, it's just over for this character.
Oh,
she's going home.
Roll with those punches, Gary.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
So I don't know. I've been sort of at that point, and I was kind of slow to play through that.
Yeah,
just like whatever. I don't really care as much.
Gary's
anymore.
depressed now.
But yeah, I heard the new characters are really good too, so hopefully it'll be okay.
Tales games seem to have that kind of moment.
Yeah, they're having like weird issues with writing nowadays where they didn't used to.
Yeah, it's
maybe it was just one of those things. A bunch of writers left, and they're working with the B team now.
Namco Bandai. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good company though. I've been enjoying their games.
Yeah, they're not bad.
So, yeah, and that's about it. Watching anime, doing my thing.
Yeah.
Playing Tri-Peak Solitaire. I hate that game.
Why are you playing it?
Oh, I did a stupid amount of crosswords this week.
That bored at work?
No, I always have shit to do at work. I mean, like at home, I'm just like sitting.
You just
doing
play crosswords.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Exercising the old brain dizzle. That's not a crossword answer ever.
Brain dizzle.
Excellent.
What does Snoop Dogg call a brain?
Brain doggy dog.
Oh man. All right, I think that's pretty much it for us this time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Cool.
All right, well, on that note, what do you guys think? Because obviously everyone has a favorite video game that they'd love to see turned into a movie. Now, whether you think it'd be good or not, that's a whole other factor. But, yeah, we'd love to hear what video games you would like to see turned into a movie, whether it's new or old. I mean, there's shit, from Nintendo that I'm sure would make actually an amazing movie if you did it right.
Ice Climbers.
But, yeah, Ice Climbers, there you go.
Nope.
It's basically Cliffhanger with 2 people in a blue and pink jacket.
Oh Oh, Christ.
But yeah. So basically, yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Warcraft trailer? I'd love to hear feedback on that because I'm sure that there's a flame war going on with that whole thing. Because we've already heard some people saying like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread," and there's other people who are just like, "What is this bullshit?" So
it's not horrible. It's just like
but it
seems really generic.
It's always nice to hear people's opinions on both sides of it,
exactly.
especially because of the fandom that Warcraft holds now.
The main character in that movie is Ragnar Lothbrok, whatever his name for Vikings. He's got Vikings.
So anyways, put the comments down there somewhere about all that, and until next time, don't forget to
like,
comment,
and subscribe.
KitaCast out.